Hey everyone, welcome back to Navajo Tea Time. So today we're going to do something fun. We're going to do 21 questions. So I've been seeing I've been seeing other people do this on YouTube, and I think it's really fun. So we're going to go through the 21 questions on today's episode. So stay tuned.
Sorry for the bad kung fu voiceover, but I'm going to split up the video by like 5 or 6 questions, depending on how long the questions are, into 4 videos, so stay tuned.
Okay, so how about you read the first question? Or you can read the odd and I'll read the even. Since
All
you're
right.
odd I'm even.
In what?
In what way?
You have an even number of children?
No. Yes. No. Just kidding.
You have 7 kids.
I know. Anyway.
All right. Anyways, what's the weirdest dream you've ever had?
Oh my god. Shoot. I didn't even think about this. The weirdest dream I ever had was probably... Dang, I have a lot of weird dreams, but the one that comes to mind is, dreams of flying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like...
You find those weird? Like,
No,
what dreams do
they're
you
awesome.
find weird?
I guess, like, when I have dreams about people and then those people will contact me and then, like, if we start talking, find out that they're having dreams about me too. I think those are really weird, and that's always happened to me since I was, like, in high school, where, like, people I'm close with will have dreams, will be in the same dream together. So, I think that's
weird.
pretty weird, right? How about you?
The weirdest dream I've ever had. Like, I don't remember my dreams often, but when I do remember, it's because they are weird. Recently, I had a dream where I was being chased down by bears.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's like, I don't remember much of the context, but they were like chasing me down, and I'm just trying to get away.
Wow. You were actually running? Is that the weird part?
Yeah, probably. Like, why didn't I fight them? No.
Dang. That sounds scary. How many bears?
Like 4.
Whoa. Dang.
And it's just kind of funny because, like, me and Mona, we've been doing, like, our oracle readings and whatever, and I've been keep getting this reading where, like, I need to acknowledge something from, like, my ancestral past or, like, do something about that. So I think, like, my dream is, like, literally my ancestors are running me down.
How you're a Kia'ani side, too, because the bear is the protector.
Really? Because, like, Sitnagini, with my great-grandma, or my great-grandma, she always told us that, like, our Sitnagini clan is Shush Sitnagini, not the Turkey Sitnagini.
Really?
Yeah, so it's, like, a weird different, like...
Country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I took it as, is
Oh,
like
I
my
wonder.
ancestors were trying to chase me down and tell me something, but
They're like, Kelsey!
several readings I keep getting the same thing, and I'm like, I don't know how to address this yet, so I'm gonna ignore it. Now they're in my dreams. So I'm like, oh
Wow.
bye.
Dang, I wish I knew how to interpret dreams. I don't know how. Yeah. My husband and his mom know how. But I don't. I'm just like... Okay. If you could travel to any year in a time machine, what year would you choose to go to and why?
What year? Oh my goodness. I really don't know. I've never had that. Well, maybe the Victorian era, just to see all the pretty dresses, because you get the black and white photos, but when you see, like, a modern, like, in color, they're colorful, but you see the black and white. So I think just to, like, walk around the Victorian era, like, really nice neighborhood in Victorian era. I don't want to get killed by Jack the Ripper, but, you know, and just see all the pretty clothes and the pretty architecture and
Oh, wow. Yeah.
have tea with, like, sandwiches and everything, you know?
That'd be cool. I would go to 1491, I would want to see what it was like before first contact. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty...
Yeah. Do you want to read the
Oh,
next
that's
question?
right. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Dang. I'd probably want like really big boobs. Ew!
You can do that.
I don't want to get surgery though, and I don't want to alter my body because I feel like it's gonna affect how.
You want bigger boobs, really?
Like, yeah, like really big boobs.
Like Dolly Parton.
Like Dolly Parton. That'd be so cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm scared of surgery though. I don't want to pay the money for it, and I don't want to give my daughters any kind of
body dysmorphia.
issues. Yeah, like body dysmorphia issues, because when you tell your daughters you tell them they're beautiful and they're perfect as God made them, and then you go and get like breast implants. Like, what does that say, right? So I feel like the actions I take will speak volumes, so I could never actually do that. But I think it would be really cool. And not literally like Dolly Parton boobs, but just like bigger boobs. I've always wanted them. TMI. I hope none of my family's watching this. But like all my sisters, they're all like more like well endowed, I guess. So it's always kind of been this weird thing. They always make fun of me about it. All sad.
It's odd. We always make fun of my sister because she's a little bit bigger chested than we are.
But I always tell them, well, at least I can run faster and I don't have to buy special bras and I don't have back problems, because that's what like a lot of the women in my family who have like bigger boobs, they like have back problems now. So I like being fast. I like, yeah. But quit looking. Ew, there's something wrong. My eyes are up here. What about you?
I flip-flop on this one because I would like to know what my brain would be like if I didn't have my learning disability. Oh. But then I don't know how I would be if I didn't have my learning disability.
Like if it would change your personality, your preferences?
Not my preferences, but like, so my reading disability, it's called short eye-term memory. Mm-hmm. And so it takes it's like just the tiniest bit longer for me to actually comprehend something. Like when I'm reading or looking at something, it just takes a little bit longer, and it gives me a slight dyslexia. But I'm also kind of odd with this learning disability because I'm not supposed to be good at math. Which I am really good at if I sit down and try and do it and understand. Like, I'm really good at math if I put the time for it. So I'm not supposed to be good, but like it really affects my reading because I have to read slower, and it affects my writing and my spelling and everything. Yeah. So if you see something spelled incorrectly, that's why on this video. On my videos.
That's why we're a team though, huh? Sometimes like when it comes to writing stuff, she'll like be like, "Can you read through this and check it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Or "Can you add to this if you want?" So we kind of work as a team like that, because Kelsey has some amazing skills that I don't have, and I know I could never have. Like her creativity, her eye, her ability to work with film and editing and all of that. It's like at a whole other level. So if you see like basic editing, it's usually me. I don't know how to do graphics or none of that.
Yeah, but no, like, so like I don't like, because I know like since my like I've always like really tried hard to learn and work in school and everything. And then like my brothers, they're also really smart, and they never had to try as hard as me. And they don't try as hard as me, you know what I mean? Like, in their subjects and their things. So I'm like, would I just be like them, like, oh, I'm just smart, I learned it right away, so I'm not gonna apply. But myself, like, I apply myself for a lot of things and try really hard and have to focus. And like, I was able to focus and work so hard so much that I didn't have to go to special ed classes. Yeah. Because, you know, like, there's that innate, like, oh no, I'm going to special ed, I'm stupid.
And that's not.
It's not. But like when you're in 6th grade and you've been diagnosed with this, and they're like, "Oh, you need to go to special ed classes." I'm like, "No, I don't." And then mom's like, "Well, then you have to keep a C or higher." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I can get good grades. I'll get good grades, so I don't have to be in special ed." So I really tried hard, and that kind of like really pisses me off sometimes when like normal kid brains and normal students are like, "Oh, I just failed."
You're like, why?
Yes.
What's your excuse? What the heck?
Yeah. It's like not looking down at little kids now, but like when I was in high school, I'm like, oh, I just failed this class. I'm no good at school. I'm like, why? What's your disability? They're like, I don't have a disability. no one will learn it. I'm like, so you didn't try? You know? That was my mindset in, like, high school and middle school. I was like, so you just didn't try. And
Dang.
so, like, every once in a while, I think, like, how would I have been if I didn't have this disability? But I don't know if I want to know who that person is.
Yeah, I think that my life trajectory would be different if I had a different body type.
If you had
because I see, I mean, when I was younger, it was like a lot of my friends, they were all like, they had more feminine bodies, I guess. And for me, I thought that was like, I guess that was the ideal. And I noticed how people treated them differently, you know? And when you're younger, you're in your prime, right? This is before you have children. This is before you start getting older and aging. And, you know, as we know, our bodies change over time. And for them, you know, they had a different trajectory than I did. But I noticed when we were younger how they were treated differently. You know, people would really roll out the red carpet for them the bigger their breasts were. And I was just like, and for me, like, I always felt like, or I always knew that my strong suit was my brain, right? My brain and my personality. And it sounds sad, but like that's how I connected with a lot of people, especially with guys. Like, they liked my personality. They liked we could have conversations about an array of things, and we would, you know, that's how I connected with people on that level, like on a cerebral level. And as I've gotten older, that's gotten stronger. You know what I mean? And so a lot of men, like boys when I was younger, men now, were able to have really great conversations and a great connection. But I felt like I wasn't always like sexualized, you know what I mean, by them. That's not how they perceived me. It was more like their eyes were usually on my friends. You know what I mean? Like, they got all that attention. And me, I was just like,
you're just one of the guys.
I'm like the cool girl. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So, but, you know, I think that where I ended up, though, is like I really do value my ability to think, my ability to do certain things. You know what I mean? Like, my skill set is important, and that's what I've built on, and that's what's made me the person I am today, and I'm very grateful for that. Because if I was just always focused on my body, if that was my whole, like, all my maintenance went into my physical appearance, I think I would be having different experiences, and I would definitely have interactions with different kinds of people. And I also know that the way people, the level of respect that I guess other girls were getting was not the same level as the level of respect I was getting, and I would not trade that for the world. But yeah, I think it would definitely shift it if my lived experience was different. So yeah, I'm thankful for who I am now and my ability now. But yeah, I always wondered though, like, how would that change? I know that I would look a lot better in certain clothes.
You just gotta stuff it, Adrian.
I won't do that. I won't do that. I will never do that. And I just got to this point, like, now I'm of the age where I just accept my body for what it is. And what I focus on now and have for like the past 10 years is just the health of my body.
Yeah.
You know, trying to be healthy, and taking care of like my skin and eating well. And sometimes I do really good and sometimes I don't, you know. So sometimes there have been times, like, especially after I have a baby, I'm definitely bigger and I have to like lose weight. And as I've gotten older, I don't lose weight as quickly as I did when I was younger. So that's like been a process. Like, now I run every day, but I don't feel like I look like a runner. I'm not all super built and like lean, you know what I mean? I feel like I still look the same. But
I think I read something where, like, for people over 35, they need to exercise an hour to maintain their weight.
Yeah.
And they need to exercise more than that to lose weight, and also calorie deficit.
And me, I've always been very consistent with how much I eat, how frequently I eat, and how much I exercise. And I know for a fact I don't exercise as rigorously or as long as I should to ever lose weight. So I'm always at this, there's a constant. And what I was told by a doctor is that's actually very healthy so long as I'm not overweight to the point where it's causing me health problems.
Yeah.
So I try to stay at that level, and it's like just a balance, you know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely don't focus on my physical appearance as much as I did when I was younger. And what that's done for me is allow me the confidence to age gracefully, and that's what I'm aiming for. And it's also kind of been humbling enough so that my interactions with other women has never been very toxic. Like, I'm not so focused on my appearance that I see other women and I get jealous of them or I try to tear them down. It's not, I'm thinking at a different level and I'm operating at a different level. So working with women who are younger than me, more beautiful than me, smarter than me, I don't immediately shift my mind frame where I'm like trying to compete against them. You know what I mean? I'm always trying to coexist. So it's a different way of living and being, and I think it just has to do with like being humbled from a very young age. Anyways, let's change the subject.
No, I was gonna say something, but like when you were telling your daughters and like they're beautiful the way God made them and everything. Like, I don't tell that to Frankie. I tell her like 'cause she'll put on makeup. She has like play makeup. She likes putting on makeup and everything. It makes her happy. And it's like, am I pretty with her makeup on? I'm like, you're pretty with or without makeup. As long as you're happy, you are pretty.
Yeah.
So I just always tell her
That's
that
good.
because like if she doesn't like something, I can't force her to like it.
Yeah.
And it's like you can change if you want as long as you're happy with who you are.
Yeah. And what I learned too from like just my education in social and behavioral sciences is that if you when you talk to your children, you highlight the elements of who they are and you elevate elements of who they are aside from their appearance. Like, you're so smart, you're so good at this, you're so kind, you know what I mean? And you speak to them as a whole being as opposed to, oh my god, you're so cute, like all the time, you know what I mean? Or so I do try to like, I tell my girls all the time they're beautiful. I never say you're pretty or you're cute or you're whatever. I always tell them you are beautiful. And then I tell the boys that. And they're like, you know what I mean? But it's funny just the way, and I like to do that to them because what it does is they notice it, you know what I mean? And it makes them think a little differently. But, you know, I always say, like, my beautiful boy or my beautiful girl or you're such a good person or you're so patient or you're so kind. You know what I mean? I say those things to them and it makes them think about it. And when they're having a tough time, sometimes when you tell a person they're beautiful, it'll make them cry. And I've seen that happen a couple times. And so I just want them to love who they are and know that they are loved as a whole being. And I think that comes, too, from just, I guess, the experiences I've had. And, like, yeah, so, but even as a grown woman, you know, if you ask me if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? And I'm just like, oh, I know what that is. But I'm not willing to do it. It's too scary.
If it was just like this today, now, and not having to go through the whole life experience, if I could just stay me and have bigger boobs.
If I could stay me, yeah. If I had the money and I didn't have to feel the pain, I would probably do it. And I told my husband this, and he's like, why would you do that? And I'm just like, I don't know. Because I want to. But I'm like, I don't want to go through the recovery because it looks like it's awful. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm just like, it's not worth it. Anyways, okay, next thing. What would you tell your future self?
I have no idea.
I know, that's a good
I'm
question.
like, well,
Huh?
I don't know what's going to happen to
I
me.
know, everyone asks, like, what would you tell yourself as your younger self or yourself as a child, but what would you tell your future self? You
I
are
don't
beautiful.
know.
I'll probably need to hear it at that point because I'll be much older.
Oh, I think only Mona is going to get this reference, and it is going to be... It has happened as the marshmallow foretold.
Wow. I don't even know how to respond to that.
You won't, but it's for Mona.
Cool.
As the marshmallow has foretold, Mona. As the marshmallow has foretold. Adrian's mad.
I'm not mad. Next question.
Like, I don't know what that means, Kelsey.
I can't.
What about, would you tell yourself a cryptic message? Like
If
something,
I had one, but...
Well, like, okay, so, like, if your future self was, like, regretting or feeling like something in your past needed to change or doing anything, what would you tell them to make them know that you did everything you could? Something meaningful to you in a sentence or a phrase or a lyric where it's like, you did what you could and everything's fine.
Let's see. Maybe I would
You made all the right choices.
I would probably quote a poem by an author. Like, 'cause so on the way over here, I was listening to Book of Longing by Leonard Cohen. I got the audiobook and I was listening to that, and he has all this poetry, and there's one that really resonated with me, so maybe I would just send that. What was it? The poem was called SOS 1995, and I think, like, that's probably the message I would send. SOS 1995, because that links to a global streaming channel for, like, cool music. But it's also a poem by Leonard Cohen. I like the message in it, so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, tripped out. Okay.
So, next question. If you could have dinner with a famous person, living or dead,
I know
who would
who.
you choose?
Jim Morrison! Oh my god, I would love to have dinner with Jim Morrison. How about you?
I don't know why, but, like, this is the terms that come into my head. Exposing who I admire as, like, famous people, it feels really raw to me. Like, I've talked about my family trauma, the difficulties I have sometimes in my marriage, but this makes me apprehensive to, like, go into the future. Like, but I think, like, if you have dinner, does it mean you're just eating with them, or is it like you sit down and you have, like, a conversation with them?
Of course, yeah. You sit down, have a conversation with them, enjoy the evening.
And this has to be a famous person. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd probably want to have dinner with Dita Von Teese too, because he's cool. And Betty Page.
You get one person, Mona, Adrian. That response was just like what Mona would say.
I'm just kidding.
You were channeling Mona for a moment.
I know.
But anyways, can we change it to not a famous person?
Sure.
Okay, so this is me changing the question with its parameters. If I could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, and they had to answer my questions honestly, it would be my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness, that would be quite a conversation. Huh.
If they had to answer the
Wow.
questions honestly, I would have dinner with my dad.
Wow. Dang, that's deep.
That's
deep. Well, he's kind of YouTube famous from all the stories he told on Navajo Tea Time, so maybe technically it counts. Just kidding.
Alright, that was the first 5 questions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please comment below if you want to answer any of the questions. Hagonet!